Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Red Alert Diaries Live with Tanya E. Hood. I'm in a different location because I want to give you a little bit something different from this morning's podcast. So if you listen to this morning's episode, then you are aware that transformation was the topic of discussion. Because when we talk about transformation, we usually think about something sometimes on the outside, that external element. Here's the thing. Your external circumstances can often change in numerous ways, but who you are at the core of your being, if that doesn't change, it doesn't matter how many environments you move back and forth through, you may still find yourself in the middle of a chaotic moment that does not support you or those around you. Now, if you didn't listen to this morning's episode, I want you to go back and listen to it because I gave 5 steps that you can take to get you to a better position. And it often starts with having the information necessary because information leads to transformation. But you have to apply the insight that you get. I share that you can get information anywhere. We are in the information highway. And everywhere you go, you can pick up a subject, pick a topic, research it. You now have the capability of using AI to do data dumps for you, massive amounts of information so that you can gain some insight. Here's the thing. Doesn't matter how much information that you have. If you don't go through some basic steps to support you on the journey, you'll miss out. So in my conversation this morning on some of those steps, let me pull this up and share a little bit about what was stated. I gave a thought process about one, recognizing that acceptance is one of the first things that you'll have to go through. You have to accept what's going on with you in the journey. Because if you don't walk through that path, you usually lose yourself in the process. I walked through gaining an element of knowing who I was. Becoming self-aware, knowing pieces of you leads to how you can accept. We don't often accept the things that we receive in our journey because we're not aware of what's going on inside. So today I decided to do a little something different. Typically, what I try to do when I show up for you guys is put on a little bit of makeup to enhance a few things. But this is me, just the way it is on a regular basis. Didn't do too much with the hair, it's just there. And with the right lighting, you will see that I'm a little bit of a redhead. It took me a long time to become self-aware of the fact that depending on the lighting, the situation, the environment, the place, you show up different. For a long time, Tanya showed up different in different places because I was raised in an environment that said if you're in one space, you do this way. If you're in another space, you do that way. And there are things that you need to adjust to because of the environment. There is nothing wrong with that. But if you are changing so many elements of who you are to fit into an environment, you'll reach a place in your life where you are malfunctioning because you'll go through a part of you where you are in a room full of people feeling lonely because you are not you. I used to be considered a butterfly, the life of the party. I can put together a party, and that was because the strength that I brought to the table was analyzing the situation. I can walk into any environment. It does not matter what the environment is. And I have the natural ability to organize the chaos in that environment. Because I had the natural ability to organize and structure it, I also had an element of being a little flexible in some ways. So depending on the environment, I could adjust how I functioned in that environment. I was raised in a household that was what I call high volume. My grandmother gave me the best that she could, but because there was so much going on, sometimes I had to learn to adapt quickly. That was a great strength. But as I grew up, I learned that I had to make those same adjustments in some other areas because I wouldn't be accepted. One of the first few places a lot of us gain that understanding, high school. Yeah, see, being in elementary school, you're sort of accepted just for who you are. But if you are a person that goes through the high school phase, you find the little cliques, the places that you need to sort of be in, and then you become a little more self-conscious. You become a little more self-aware. It was in high school that it dawned on me that I had a learning disability. Now, there wasn't anything that was brand new. But when I was in middle school, I had Miss Anderson. Miss Anderson was a beautiful light to support me on my journey. She knew what I was struggling with, being dyslexic. She understood how to support me because I had a lisp. Having a learning disability and a verbal disability all at the same time does something to you. But if you're in environments that support you, you're not aware of some of the nuances of what that looks like in different environments. So in high school, I had a few good friends that moved with me from middle school to high school. So I had a little bit of a support group. My family supported me in a lot of my journey and had those cheerleaders in my back pocket that helped spur me on. But not everybody does that. And if you aren't self-aware of some of the elements that you possess when you go into environments that challenge those, you'll have difficulty adjusting. So I had to first accept, Tanya, you are different. And I had to be okay with my differences. I had someone call me an undercover nerd because my brilliant, beautiful, logical mind was able to take in all those data points. I talked a little bit this morning about some of the data points that some of us need in order for us to be able to make the adjustments through the 5 steps. So go back and listen to that. But if you're a person that feels a little out of place, what my grandmother told me when I was little, she says, Tanya, I need you to know that when you are riding around with your friends, there are things in life that you're going to come into. There's journey that you're going to take in your world, and not everybody can ride with you. If you're going to have somebody ride with you, have someone that is able to support you if you get a breakdown. Because if you are in your vehicle and you got some friends riding with you and there's a tire that needs to be fixed, those that won't help you fix the tire, you need to watch them. Because if you're walking into an experience later in life and you need somebody to support you on that journey, if they won't help you with the little things, they will not be able to help you with some of your major things either. So be careful who you're riding with. Now, I was very logical. And in my mind, I took things extremely literal. So when I had my first breakdown with my girlfriends in my little, at that time, y'all, Ford Escort. Ford Escort was a thing that I could afford at the time, and I loved my little Ford because it still got me from A to B. And that little thing needed fixing almost every freaking day, it felt like, but it was mine. So when it was time for us to hang out, if you are your teenage friends, somebody's got a vehicle. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit of a hoopty, if y'all can get where I need to be, you pack that thing around the corner. And when you park where nobody can see you, walk around in your cute little outfits, don't nobody know what you drove up in. But if it breaks down and y'all gotta go home, which this did one evening, who's gonna help you change the tire? Now, being the literal person that I am, at that time of my world, it was black or white. Did not see gray. It did not register in my brain that my grandmother didn't mean to take that literal. But since I did, the few girlfriends of mine that helped me fix that tire, the ones that I rode with longer, because I recognize if you help me with these little things, then you'll help me with the big things. I was more aware of how I showed up. I became more aware of who showed up with me. It gave me the opportunity to accept some of the elements of myself. It gave me the grace to accept some of the elements of other people, which leads me to the next part, understanding. Once you get understanding and acceptance in your journey, it helps you go through a path of being able to get to where you need to be. Being self-aware helped me understand what was going on because I had to change from what I was taking literal to what my grandmother meant metaphorically. And I accepted it. That acceptance gave me the opportunity to move into a better direction so that I can appreciate what was happening in my world. I began to appreciate the people that were riding with me, those that knew me in the chaos, back when I couldn't speak well, the moments I still don't read well, when I got in a new situation that was bigger and deeper, my emotional breakdown. You see, my emotional breakdown, that was internal. I can change the external elements. There's nothing to put on some makeup, glam up, extra lights, all the various things. We can do external transformation. But sometimes it takes longer to do the internal transformation. And in the aftermath of my divorce, I showed up like this on a regular basis. I learned to put on makeup. I had to discover what mascara was. Y'all, it tripped me out. My girlfriend was putting a little stuff on. I was like, why are you doing this? My eyelashes are so heavy because it wasn't something that I did. What she was trying to do when I was having my internal breakdown in the aftermath of my divorce was change my external view. That didn't help me. It gave a temporary boost when we went out. But at the end of the day, when you're by yourself, the makeup comes off. The bravado comes off. You're not hanging with your friends. Who are you? Are you self-aware of what that looks like? Are you self-aware of how you function? You need to gain that information so that you can get the understanding necessary about who you are to start accepting you with nothing to support you. And for some of you, those of you that know that I got true revelation in my transformation at the feet of Jesus. You say, I heard a story, another story at this point now that I was older. Because at 32 years old, I had a different understanding. My grandmother gave me my teenage view about having people ride with you. That was literal. But I did recognize later on how to use a metaphor to get a lesson that was necessary. And when I was hearing a story about a preacher talking about how Jesus got into a boat and he had pulled a little bit away from the shore to speak to the people, I was like, the boat. The thing about the boat that helped me, God's word was in the boat. The word was on the water. If the water ever got in the boat, it would sink. It was there that I got a little more understanding and a different perspective. A boat is meant to be in the water. But if the water gets in the boat, then you got a problem. You're designed to live in the world. You're designed to be in the middle of some elements of chaos. But if you let the chaos get inside of you, that's a problem. You see, my transformation, getting healed and whole on the other side of my divorce, came when I accepted Tanya. I had to be self-aware of who I was at the core of my being. I am logical, analytical. I am loving, I'm supportive. I am giving, I am caring. I am all of those things. And when someone tried to tell me who I was not, that was me letting the water get in the boat. I was supposed to always be a beautiful 25-foot sail going across the water in beautiful settings, doing magnificent things, supporting others around me, carrying what I needed to carry without drowning in the middle of the ocean of life's chaos. It only happens when you choose to know you, understand you a lot better, appreciate you a little more. That gives you the opportunity to accept you so that you can take action and be more effective. Those are the 5 steps, and I didn't give them all in order. But if you walk through just those 5 pieces, it's a starting place to recognize the amazing parts of who you are without the external elements. So change your environment. It may mean you have to strip down to nothing. And if you love you with nothing that the world says that you need to have, you can show up anywhere. Because who you are at the core of your being is amazing. Who you are at the core of your being still shows who you are at the core of your being is magnificent. And then when you want to enhance, you can add stuff that's a little complimentary. The enhancement just expresses you a little bit more. So when you're ready to transform internally so that it takes place, gets a firmer root, and then you can do what you want to do externally to make it a little bit better later. I look forward to joining you guys on the journey. If anything that I said tonight resonates with you or you thought of somebody along the way, like, share, subscribe, and let me know in the comments how I can best support you moving forward. And if you want to talk a little bit more about just allowing yourself to be seen with nothing but you, and you're thinking, I'm not sure how to do that, feel free to go to my website, tanyaehood.com. There you can click under the Contact Me tab, schedule some time with me. We'll have a quick conversation and see where I can support you on the journey. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose. I want you to do the same.